Welcome to Teams Transformed, the podcast for people who want to see real team transformation.
For courageous coaches, curious leaders, and anyone passionate about unlocking the true power of teams.
We're your hosts, Georgina
and Allard,
here to journey with you through transformational insights on how to coach teams with presence, depth, and emergence.
Let's explore not just the tools, but the art of transforming teams. In this final episode, we'll take a look at where we've been and we will imagine where we're going and discover in the process that we are never really ready for the important decisions in life. Do join us in this beautiful field of team coaching. The world needs it more than ever, and enjoy this last episode. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8. And even though this is the final of a series of 8 that we had planned, and we'll see what comes afterwards, because this episode is called "The Journey Continues," and the journey does continue, right? And whether we think about our journey with these podcasts, or whether we think about our journey as whether we think about it as our own development as practitioners, as coaches. So this episode is an opportunity to kind of pause and reflect and celebrate everything that we've been talking about over the last few weeks. But it's also a transition point, I think, a bridge from, what are we learning and now how do we live that, from exploring into how do we embody this as we consider our evolving role as team coaches. So, and we'll offer you some ideas for continued development as well.
When I heard you say we'd be talking about how you embody this, Al, what occurred to me is sometimes when coaches talk about that, they mean getting a tool or a process in the bones. I want to be able to remember this approach or methodology so that I can call upon it when I want it. I guess we're talking about it in some ways in a more profound way, which is beyond the digestion or integration into us of processes and tools, but into ourselves as team coaches, the ongoing, unfolding, sometimes challenging roller coaster of repeatedly encountering ourselves in relationship with others.
Yeah. And it is challenging, isn't it? It's challenging work.
It can be really challenging work. And I think that's, when I think about how we learn about groups and the impact of social dynamics, it's through our family of origin. And often my growing up with my family of origin made me develop certain skills and attributes, and I took up a certain role in that family, as I'm sure everyone else did, and we developed some skills around that role. When I was growing up, I was a good girl, and I was trained to be a good girl, and that meant don't be silly, don't interrupt things. Don't speak back. Don't have a voice. Be quiet, and that developed some great capacities in me. It also was very limiting in terms of what was possible, and I had quite an authoritarian father, and who would say, "Don't talk back to me," and that developed in me a relationship with authoritarian men that I'd have a strong reaction to. So that's all part of me in my growing up. And of course, that will come back in team situations. I feel growing up very, very uncomfortable in groups, very shy, not wanting to say anything, not wanting to be seen. And so it's easier in a way to play the role of coach, where I could run in my own mind. Well, I'm not seen. It's not about me. It's about you. So my own development was about bringing more of my own voice in, and more of my own agency, or more of my own courage to intervene with the team.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful to hear, and and I've known you for many years, and I've seen how incredibly far you've come from that family of origin that you describe, and it's interesting to me too, because it really positions our families as the first team experience
Yes.
for many of us. And I can really relate to the authoritarian father figure, and I think me growing up as a bit of the peacemaker at the table, and that also still being visible in the work that I do. We spoke in the last episode. We spoke about my experience of having feeling threatened in the early stages of this work, and really being triggered by certain behaviors in a team, and I can totally relate that back to the feeling of feeling threatened at the dinner table, so to speak, and having to stand up and make and help people make peace, and how that has influenced how I looked. I was going to say look, but how I looked at conflict for a long time as something to be avoided at all costs, and so it was fascinating, and no, I was going to say so indicative of the inner work that we have to keep doing on ourselves.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? And it's exciting in a way, although not always easy. But it's exciting to encounter these edges, these parts of ourselves where perhaps the strategies we developed were frozen in time. The strategy of trying to be invisible and not have a voice, which was mine, trying to hide. That got me through. It's quite a creative strategy as a 5, 6, 7-year-old. It's not the most effective strategy as a team coach working with senior executives. So whilst it challenges us, it also gives us the opportunity to grow up, to get engaged with our own maturation. And that means that whilst we're working with teams, a huge part of our own development is about development of self and our own capacity. And unfortunately, I think, most coach training and coach accreditation requires little or no work on self. I mean, it may require some supervision, which can often focus on the practice or the tools that you use. But we're not required to do therapy or deep personal work on ourselves, which I believe would really enhance us as a profession. So that to me, this is a call to anyone who's involved in team coaching to really commit to the development of yourself as a coach.
Yeah, I come to think of it, we're not even, in order to progress through the accreditation kind of pipeline, we don't even have to have our own coach.
No, let alone therapist.
Let alone therapist.
Yes. Yeah.
But and so we're strong believers, as we mentioned, I think before, in supervision, amongst other things, and community, which we'll talk about a little bit further down the line in this episode, perhaps.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that we can work on in supervision, and beyond sharing a scenario and saying, how would you approach this? What tools would you use? Which, of course, is a useful way of thinking about supervision, but it can be so much more than that.
Yes, I think supervision is often thought about as either being formative, which has to do with our, say, technical development, or normative, which has to do with the norms and the ethics, so to speak, of the craft. But it's also, and to me, above all things, in our lives, in our work, it has to be restorative. It really is, I think it's an opportunity to digest all of the different things that happen in the work week in, week out, and to clean up, so to speak, and to maybe open up and clean up, to name just a few of the ups that Ken Wilber and then Peter Blockert kind of developed.
Yeah, so cleaning up and skilling up, and growing up, our own, being actively involved in our own maturation,
and waking up to what we're not seeing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I've known quite a few team coaches who would describe themselves as people pleasers, and if we think deeply about it, so a people pleaser is a part of ourselves that often comes from a very early stage, where we're looking to appease someone in power, some giant, to dilute some risk. And we do that, of course, by looking out, reading the room, and finding out how we can please. It's a way of getting by, and it's a child position, and it invites someone else or the other into more of a parent role. So our growing up is about our capacity to be able to go beyond people pleasing, because it can be limiting. There's times when it's useful, but especially in terms of building relationship and building a container. But let's say that we're going to make an intervention that's going to reveal some pattern about the team that they may not be pleased about. They may have a defensive reaction to.
Yeah.
We need to be able to stand in the heat of that, to stay with it, to stay in the moment, so that the team don't instantly move away from the new awareness. They can acclimatize to it. So growing up is a big part of that.
Yeah. So let's see what some of those what some of the ways forward might look like. What are some of the things that can help us to continue to wake up, to open up, to grow up, to clean up, to skill up. And by skills, I mean the inner developmental kind of skills, and so that we can continue to show up
Yes.
in the way that we need to show up. But before we look forward, could we just take 1 minute to look back over the? This has all gone by so fast, and maybe just a quick reminder of what we've talked about in this series of episodes, and what we've learned, or what we see differently as a result, perhaps.
Well, we started out thinking about why it is that so many team workshops and team interventions really, in truth, barely scratch the surface of what the underlying need is and what the yearning is of the team. They kind of go through the motions and can leave us feeling slightly unsatisfied, or at best they may have really, be really enjoyable and have elevated moments of fun or enlightenment in the workshop, but then the impact of it just evaporates at the end. So we explored that, and then talked about the significance of emergence and how working emergently can go beyond scratching the surface, how it can work more deeply and more transformatively with a team.
Yeah, I remember us talking quite a bit about our own philosophy and our stance, i.e., what are our beliefs about the work that we do, and about ourselves, and about people, and about teams, and about change, and how some of those beliefs may show up as little mantras and inform our stance, the way we show up.
Help us to be the change we want to see.
Yeah.
And we talked about structures for emergence, how we can't just go into a team or group session and work straight away with emergence, that we need to create containers for emergence, and what that might look like. And we looked across something that we call a team coaching journey, or the team coaching journey, as a kind of map with different phases and stages and interventions in that are all possibilities for how we might structure our time with teams.
We talked about the beauty of contact, the importance. I remember you doing this little thing with your fingers, where am I making contact
Where the fingers are touching, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At the boundary, right? At the contact boundary. Am I making contact with the need that I can see emerge in front of me, and we talked about the inherent uncertainty that comes with that comes with this type of emergent work, and how to befriend uncertainty.
I like the way you put that, befriend uncertainty, yeah. And we talked about meta skills as a powerful technology for change, bringing change into the here and now in an experimental way, but in a way that integrates change but has the potential to make the work much more sticky, to go beyond the evaporation effect, to become transformational.
Yeah, and then just the other week we spoke about a model that outlines 3 different stages of team development, and how our role consists largely of accompanying a team through those different stages of its own development and maturing. So we've talked about many different ways many different subjects, I should say, that kind of weave together into this one tapestry, which we can call the art of emergent team coaching.
Beautiful. And I'm wondering what you, the listener, what thoughts and feelings are coming up for you? What questions do you have? Or maybe what's shifted in you? What surprised you?
What do you object to? What doesn't sit right with you? What makes no sense?
Yeah.
And what are you curious about?
So you can engage with us by connecting with us on LinkedIn or joining our community through our website, www.teamcoaching.com. We'd love to hear your questions and for you to share your thoughts with us. They genuinely feed our own thinking and our reflection on our work. So most of our thinking has been stimulated by the questions that other coaches ask us and the questions we've come to ask ourselves.
And so when we think ahead, and maybe when you think ahead, and we have to talk about this notion of mastery. What is mastery? Is it a destination that at one point we reach where we can say, now I'm really masterful at this, or is it a path that we follow? And I think to us it's much more the latter. Of course, it's an ongoing journey of development. And I know for myself that every year that I look back on the year that was, I go, yeah, I've gotten a little bit better at what I was going to say, at what I do. But it's not really, it's not about doing, isn't it? It's not the work as a team coach is not something you do. It's something that you live and something that you become.
I like how you put that. So you've become a bit better at becoming and becoming comfortable with uncertainty, at making good choices when you intervene, being more intentional and these sorts of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I will never be a master team coach. It's because it's an ongoing quest. There's no point of arrival. But mastery as a quest is a very compelling quest, because I'll always encounter myself in relationship with others and with relation with the team. The learning goes on. So how do we live into that? How do we live into that?
So okay, I just want to stop you there for 1 second, because when I look at you, I think of you as absolutely masterful, and I know that a lot of other people do too. And but at the same time, I think one of your biggest qualities is this modesty that you exemplified in in your last few statements there, because and you really walk the talk. Because one thing about mastery is that the deeper you go, the more you learn that there's still so much to learn. And I know that you never stop learning.
I never stop. No,
Yeah,
it's true.
And discovering new ways of looking at this.
And now you say that, I notice that I have an excitement about that discovery, and where that discovery will take me, that feeling of growth that I get through discovering something new about myself and about a way of being. Yeah, thank you for saying that.
No, and it's so and it's evidenced in the fact that we've been running this diploma in emergent team coaching now for quite a few years, and it's never exactly the same one year to the next. It keeps evolving based on what you are learning, what I am learning, what others are learning, what people are telling us. Yeah,
and in its evolution, we've removed many tools and frameworks. We've paired it down to the minimum viable concepts, framework, structures that help us to work more deeply, more significantly, more transformatively with teams, so we can privilege the time, invest time on practice and on being team coaches rather than talking and thinking about team coaching. It's why we're the team coaching studio, because we need to get into the arena and practice this. We can't learn team coaching just through a book.
Yes, and it's not about learning new concepts. I mean, those can be intellectually satisfying, right? And they can fill an appetite, but never really for very long. I think this whole business has to do so much with deeper things, like with developing my own vulnerability, developing my own humility, and at the same time developing my own courage.
Sometimes it's about developing our courage, our authority, giving ourselves permission to intervene, to go beyond the previous identity I had of myself as a people pleaser or as a good girl, being able to reach beyond that, to have greater range in those interventions.
Yeah, and in that process, I think really coming to terms with and discovering who you are as a team coach, which may be very different from how I am as a team coach, or from how they are as team coaches. Developing finding your own way through this, finding, through your own presence and your own use of self. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's so important. The same way there's no two executive or leadership coaches or life coaches who are the same. Those who are truly impactful have discovered who they are and how to make best use of themselves as an instrument in service of their clients. And we don't arrive at that overnight. It's a process of our own evolution and our work on ourselves, our self-discovery. And it's so important and so impactful. So we just love seeing each team coach shine as who they are, and we know that the world needs many, many, many different team coaches, all of whom have slightly different set of philosophical assumptions, or radically different philosophical assumptions about the work that's needed, about how change happens, about who they need to be. And clients will find the coach they need as long as we're able to show them who we are. So we want to take away the homogenous idea of a cookie cutter approach to team coaching, which is all about just exercising in a kit approach, or here are the steps that are written about in a book. We have to make it our own, and it's only then that we really step into being at our most effective.
It's something that we've noticed time and time again, isn't it? That as we train people, as we help other people advance on this path to becoming, the best version of themselves as team coaches, it throws up a lot of questions, and a lot of these questions have to do with a desire to codify this work into a series of easily identifiable and repeatable kind of iterative steps.
Yeah,
and that doesn't exist. We have to be comfortable enough. We have to develop the comfort in ourselves to move beyond that.
To go beyond certainty, to go beyond control, to go beyond our own ideas of performance.
Yeah,
exactly. So I would say our training is less for those who want to be given the step-by-step approach, the toolkit in a box. There are plenty of courses and trainings and books and materials out there, a plethora of those available. Our training is for people who really want on a quest to go deeper and to have a more transformative impact in their work with teams, and who want to develop greater courage in their intervention and greater clarity on who they are as a team coach. We offer a diploma in team coaching, a comprehensive deep dive program We offer team coaching supervision in groups and one-to-one. We also offer deep dive workshops, advanced workshops, often in person, 1 or 2 a year, where you can get in with colleagues and really practice.
Yes, and it's all ICF accredited kind of work, so it helps people along the way of accreditation if that's of interest to them. And we offer and this takes me into that notion of community. We offer a yearly team coaching retreat, normally in the summer. A beautiful opportunity to get together with like-minded and like-hearted individuals and explore the craft, but really explore ourselves. Again, there's that notion of who am I? So it's an opportunity to do some powerful but gentle work on ourselves year in, year out.
Yeah.
And that's part of the community. You really get a feeling of that community. And that community, of course, goes on the whole year. We get together, we practice together online. Yes, online. We learn together in webinars and we help each other out. It's an opportunity for people to ask questions about how do I do this, or now this has happened. So there's a growing community of team coaching practitioners that see and live the value of coming together and not just doing this on ourselves, because it can be such a lonely business, can't it?
It can be a lonely business, and there's many solo practitioners out there, independent coaches. Of course, there's coaches who work inside organizations as well, who often have more of a sense of peers around them and the value of that peer network. But I really am a huge believer in the support of others as we go out there with courage, doing the best work that we can do with teams, and the power of community. That's our aim, is to provide that support to each other and for each other, to empower everyone to go out and to do great work. So if you want to find out more, do reach out and connect. And you can reach us by email. Mine is Georgina at teamcoachingstudio.com.
And mine is Allard at teamcoachingstudio.com.
And you can reach us on LinkedIn. We love meeting up with people have a cup of coffee or a chat, a virtual coffee or a chat. We're available to explore. Our mission is to really support the development of incredible team coaches around the world who can work more deeply, more impactfully with all the teams that have the needs.
If you're listening to this and you're thinking, "Gosh, it sounds exciting, but I don't feel ready. I don't know. It sounds." They've made it sound exciting, but they've also made it sound a bit abstract and complicated at the same time. And I don't think I'm ready. We're happy to have that conversation with you, of course, but we are never ready. You don't have to be ready. You just have to be willing. Were you ready to get married? Were you ready to have children? Were you ready to say goodbye to, elderly parents? No, we're never ready for the important things, the important steps in life, but we can be willing.
Wow, that's so inspiring. Was I ready when I coached the first team? Was I ready when I took my first job?
Yes. Were you ready when you became a mom?
No.
Were you ready when that beautiful daughter of yours left the house?
No.
No.
So on that message,
were you ready for this series of podcasts?
Were you ready for this series of podcasts? Yeah.
Yeah. So we keep jumping. This sounds wrong, but let's just keep jumping off cliffs together, and we grow the wings in the process. We really do. So come join us. Thanks for having been with us over the course of these 8 episodes. Much appreciated.
See you again soon.
Thanks for joining today's journey of Teams Transformed.
If this sparked a new insight or a deeper question, we invite you to sit with it, not to solve it, but to let it unfold.
For resources, community, and reflection prompts, visit teamcoachingstudio.com.
Until the next time, stay present, stay curious, and keep leaning into the art of emergence.